After looking at the overall story, we have slowly been getting a more complete picture of everything that has happened and probably will happen in the lore. However, the grander story doesn't mean much when we don't consider the individuals living in the world. Today I would like to take a closer look at the backstory of our most cheerful friend, Guinaifen. Sadly, in spite of her optimism and demeanor, her story is actually kind of dark when compared to many other of the stories. But in my opinion, that makes her a way more interesting and complex character than if that weren't the case. Our story starts at a planet named Court Camelot. A young child named Guinevere lives in a gigantic mansion owned by her family. She is the daughter of the Lord Protector of the planet. Under the watchful eye of the family of the Lord Protector, the country was safe, peaceful and prosperous. Guinevere's father was a ruthless man in politics, but he always had a soft spot for his family. The eldest brother, Langshila, the second eldest brother, and elder sister were trained by him to become the planet's next protectors. Guinevere did not have such responsibilities, and the Lord Protector wanted her and the rest of his children to live a happy and quiet life. But since they were still part of the royal family, they had to remain close to the mansion at all times. Sadly, peaceful times wouldn't last, as the planet was discovered and attacked by the Antimatter Legion. Guinevere's father rushed to the front lines to lead an army against the Legion, but even though they faced their enemies bravely, the attack was too overpowering, and he died in combat. When the news of the army's defeat reached the children, Guinevere fainted, and when she woke up, she was already in a space shuttle about to leave her childhood planet behind. When she looked outside the window, she saw her mother in full armor taking command of the troops, while the Antimatter Legion destroyed the buildings and the mansions she once called home. The last thing Guinevere saw before the space shuttle departed were burning streets and buildings with charred corpses littering the ground. Guinevere's entire world had been erased from the cosmos. After a long time traveling, Guinevere and her brothers and sisters arrived at Hombert Sigma, a barren and hostile mining planet of the IPC. The IPC didn't limit the freedom of the miners, as long as they kept paying their taxes. However, if they paid their taxes, they might not have enough money left to buy food. Guinevere's brothers and sisters were all still children at this point, and they had only one adult to rely on. The Stonewall Knight used to be the Lord Protector's most loyal knight and best friend. To the children, he was simply known as Uncle Stonewall. With more than a dozen starving children to look after, Uncle Stonewall worked in the mines to be able to provide for them all. Eventually, the eldest three children managed to convince him to let them assist with work in the mines, so they could at least have enough money to eat and drink sort of decently again. Guinevere passed all of her teenage years on this planet, and luckily she was very good at making friends with all of the other teens she encountered. She did not care about their backgrounds or what families they were from, so she was well liked among the people. After all, they were all stuck in the same desperate situation, with no idea if they would make it until the next morning. However, even this fragile peace was not to last, because even the once powerful Stonewall Knight had to fall one day. After working for so long in the mines, he peacefully died in his sleep, leaving the children to fend for themselves. In their desperation, Guinevere's eldest brothers, under Langshila's leadership, turned to space piracy to survive. Guinevere and the other younger siblings finally had enough money to eat and drink normally again. And even though Guinevere understood it was necessary for their survival, she still felt that she was straying from her father's creed of living respectable lives. Eventually, Langshila made a mistake in choosing his next target for a raid, a Xianzhou ship. After the failed raid, he was apprehended by the Cloud Knights, and Guinevere and her siblings were detained by the IPC and handed over to the Xianzhou as well. Langshila didn't resist when he was caught and explained their situation to the Cloud Knights. The Xianzhou pardoned them for their crimes and even permitted them permanent stay on the ships. After that incident, Guinevere felt relieved, since she didn't have to steal anymore to survive, and now she could lead a normal and respectable life again. The younger children went to school on the Xianzhou, and with his crimes pardoned, Langshila decided to stay, while calling himself Lancelot. To pay gratitude to the Xianzhou, Guinevere decided to stay on the Luofu as an entertainer and streamer on Aurum Alley, where she would eventually meet her best friend Xushang, who would give her the name Guinaifen.